Hello everyone. Welcome to chapter 16, Paper, Money, and Gold as Symbols from the ISIS papers written by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Before we jump into it, can everyone kind of share their thoughts on what they read, how it made the film, how it made them feel, and whatever you want to share, in brief, a short summary of it, because we're gonna get in depth as we go through the pages. But just share what everyone share, please. I'll go by. I'll start. So for myself, I really enjoy just dissecting why we have such behavior patterns. And one of the behavior patterns is money, like using money for things, living for money, doing anything we want to doing anything we can to get money, and how money has been used as this mechanism to control us, and how white people have a totally different use for money, how money kind of hides their lack of melanin, money hides their lack of being able to have the genes that black people have, and just the deep symbolic meanings of melanin, and how money, gold, all have melanin like derivatives.
Yeah, I was really fascinated with chapter 16. I loved learning about how in the psyche of white supremacists or white supremacy, melanin is gold, and the higher value of gold can be determined and correlated with how good or bad black people are doing in the societies. And it makes perfect sense. So we grew up watching these media mentioning gold being sacred, and I've always wondered what are white gold about things. And the chapter really breaks it down, and how they use white people use money to compensate for everything. Money is one of their most powerful tools, and they have us worshiping money and have black people killing each other for money and material goods. So this is a really interesting, fascinating chapter.
Yeah. For me, this chapter is all encompassing in terms of just literally breaking down the purpose of money, because we can always break down the symbolism of gains, but money is something that everybody it affects your life on every single level, and to get a breakdown understanding of why it does was really beautiful for me. And Dr. Francis Cress Welsing opening up with the decoding of melanin and expressing what melanin does was highly important for the rest of the chapter. And also, I just wanted to mention to everybody that I had also asked a guest speaker to come this week, Dr. Joe Dash, the writer of The Melanin Effect, and I'll let him introduce himself, but I feel like he could just really go into detail in terms of what melanin does for us. And also, I'd like to hear your summary of the chapter 16. So introduce yourself for the people, please. If you was able to hear that, I'm not sure. Can you hear me? Hello?
Say Joe.
Joe, can you hear me? I just this Joe is actually one of my first teachers of Aboriginal health. It's actually because of Joe's teaching that I stopped eating majority of different meats from the ongoing to his lectures each week. So yeah, I'm very grateful that you could actually join us here today. Thank you so much. Okay, it seems like, yeah, it seems like the connection is not really good. But yeah, I'll just conclude on my chapter until he's able to make a better connection. This chapter is the breaking down of gold as well. I've always understood gold to be like highly precious, and in reading this chapter, it helped me understand fully the fact that it helped me understand fully why gold is like something that how do I say? Gold is like the fact that we have adverts saying that they want your gold to melt it down. Like gold is like the number one resource, and it makes sense now, and how it's and melanin on the black market are literally the same. But yeah, I'm not sure. Joe, can you hear me now? I don't think the sound is coming through.
Yeah, I don't think you can connect to audio. Ben or Adam, you should one of you guys who volunteered to be here. Like,
yeah, were you done, Mary? Were you done? Were you done
That's my conclusion. I'm just gonna try and see what's going on over here.
I found it very, very fascinating how she connected national shame to personal acts of shame on the part of white folks. For example, like when she used the example of the shame that white people experienced during the wretched Vietnam War is when, and for you youngsters that don't know what streaking is, you know, that was something that was real common in the 70s and 80s, where white people would take off their clothes in public and run across a public venue. And she mentioned it, she mentioned streaking as an expression of national shame. And the other thing that I just love that she articulated it the way she did was when she talked about how, and so I'm going to paraphrase because I can't find it, but basically, she, you know, when she talked about the alchemy and how they were able to receive the chemistry and the just basically the science of gold, and how they were unable to. I wish I could. Oh, it was in the quote of the Bantu chief in here, where, oh, here it is. Money is their one and only ideal. It's on page 197, and it's one of the Bantu chiefs is quoting, money is their one and only ideal, their end and the supreme ultimate norm, regulating their actions. Everything has been destroyed by this new value, this modern universal rule of conduct. That isn't exactly what I was talking about, but it does point to the fact that, in a nutshell, what has happened, and I think what the writer is saying has happened, is that the love of money and the power and the symbol of money has overridden ethics, morality, and humanity. And so we're living in a society now void of humanity because we've placed money before humanity. In a nutshell, I couldn't find what she. So that's.
Thanks so much for sharing. Adamish, did you have opportunity to read the chapter?
I want to be honest, guys, I hope you can find it to forgive me. I haven't actually read the chapters yet. I promise the next time I'm in, I will be fully in. I'll have read the chapters already and continue.
That's no problem. Having you here is also very beneficial. So you can definitely still learn and provide personal experiences or learned experiences because all learning and knowledge is valid. The more information we have, the better at solving this problem of racism, racism. So it's totally fine. Please stick around.
Okay, going.
Appreciate it. Where is the sound going?
Okay. So chapter 16, paper money and gold as symbols. I wanted to read the first paragraph on the first page that I think is so necessary and also sets us in the right tone for what we're going to be talking about because she gives such great context. The image or concept of the self in the deep recesses of the brain computer as programmed through the total environment, interacting with the genetic constitutional base, determines all patterns of symbols, logic, thought, speech, action, emotional response, and perception in all areas of people activity. As such, the self image is the core from which all else evolves in the brain computer. Thus, the deep self-image is the key concern of the psychiatrist. Why should one focus on deep symbols? What do we achieve through symbol analysis and understanding? Truth cannot be concealed. Truth is that which is. It is specific energy in the universe. It literally begs to be revealed, especially when hypocrisy and deceit, distorted statements of that which is, move towards domination. Truth then reveals itself, speaks and surfaces through the symbol. The symbol is the form through which a highly dynamic idea or concept can tunnel underground through the unconscious to be expressed. The symbol is the product of the environmental energy condensation. To me, this is advising me, it gives me so much energy to read this, and I just am able to understand them, like why when I see certain symbols, I'm able to process them and read the emotions from these symbols is because one, I have melanin, and two, I definitely use the right side of my brain as much as I use the left side of my brain, so I'm able to, think beyond a two-dimensional, three-dimensional way. I kind of think, and I personally think I think in all directions. Like I'm always thinking about, okay, that's one idea, that's two ideas, and that breaks off the infinite possibilities and such and such and such. But I personally think I'm able to get deep insight from certain symbols, and I've been able to since I was a little kid. And reading this just kind of validates that truth that symbols are great key symbols, like not key symbols. Symbols are great items that reveal the truth, basically.
It's okay. I totally agree with that statement, and I'm glad that you read that out for us. The statement, "The truth wants to be revealed," is like, I feel like that's so important. Like the reason why that rings so true for me is like because it's unhideable in these, like, that you can, like, Trey had said that he asked his mom today, did you know that boxing was about race? And she was like, yeah. Like, these symbols cannot be hidden. Like, when people play sports, we root for the black person, we want them to win, you feel bad if they don't. And also, like, with bullfighting, the second that is explained, you can't unsee it. There's no alternative theory that hits it. You can see and understand the in depth of it, and then other things start making sense, and other things start revealing itself to you. Like the moment that I had learned that Angus steak was like a deep, a melanated, like the most melanated cow or type of cattle. it made sense why it's one of the best eaten dishes in Europe, and it's like eaten rare, medium rare, so they could like ingest the nutrition and melanin from it. And it's like, yeah, so yeah, I just agreed with that statement. And yeah.
Any other comments about the passage that I read? Anything you guys want to share?
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, the ancient Egyptian, that part. The hieroglyphs, the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Basically, I'm just pretty much repeating what you both just said. Your brains are your big brains are just covering all of this stuff too well. But just I just thought it was. I think you just read this. I'm going to read it again. The bilateral lobes, the cerebral cortex, but also with the impulses and subliminal information received from the ancient. Did you just read that, Trey?
No, read it, please.
Oh yeah. This is that quote from Lubitz, educating the neurological structures of the brain to maintain an active conscious connection, not only between the bilateral lobes of the cerebral cortex, but also with the impulses and subliminal information received from the ancient and deeper limbic and reptilian centers, so that these aspects of our nature could be integrated into the activity of reasoning of mind. I'm pretty much just repeating what was said earlier, in that because they don't have the capacity to absorb this energy, this intellect, this ability to integrate at the activity of morality, and I thought it very interesting how she connected that to them using money, white people using money as their and objects as their symbol of immortality. So on the one side, they have the inability to practice, or they are by nature immoral. So they create things to make themselves, or to convince themselves that they are immortal. And I thought that was brilliant. Just another level of thinking for her to connect money to mortality, and how they make these statues and these images and these, all of these things in the attempt to achieve immortality, when all of that shit is it's temporary. And the only thing that goes into eternity is morality, is honesty, courage, service, sacrifice, forgiveness, invisible principles, love, helping. Those are the things that go into eternity. All this material shit is just wood for the fire, really. And so we depend on material things for our morality and for our sense of self. She spoke in the very first paragraph. Very first paragraph. As such, the self-image is the core from which all else evolves in the brain computer. Thus, the deep self-image is the key concern of psychologists. So I'm excited about what we're doing with this. My brain is just opening up, at this old ass age that I'm at. So yeah, I don't know if I put those thoughts together, but that's what I came up with.
I just want to age is another European concept, so I don't really subscribe to it. I think you're a very young human being who's gonna live a very, very extremely long life. Yeah, so don't call yourself old. You're not old. Stop believing in age at 23. Someone called me old at 23, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with age. But like, I wanted to just like really reiterate how, as melanated people, we have the ability to decode, and it doesn't require us to like look at something and Google what it was about or ask a professor about it. We can literally look at stuff and be in tune to a level if we're not believing all the programming around us, if we're not listening to what we've been hearing in our music. And I don't mean great music, I mean like negative music, like rap, like trap rap, where people are rapping about killing each other and such, which is like mainstream rap. Um, I think a lot of Black people and other people will be able to look at stuff and really see what it means. Like they will really see what the cross meant, and they will really see that these things are not um, like positive idols. Um, and I wanted to read this to like reiterate what I'm actually saying to kind of give us some type of backing from Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. The process of decoding and visualizing the symbol does not require the aid of a device beyond the human body, such as the microscope. Such a process first and foremost, the activity of the right cerebral hemisphere and those sensory neurochemical channels that feed primarily into the area of the human brain computer. As a theoretical extension, I am convinced that the neuropigment melanin plays a crucial role in this right cerebral hemisphere sensory neurochemical system. And I have noted down to continue reading, so I'm going to read the second part too. Melanin acts as an energy data absorbing biological pigment in the nervous system, leading specifically to the right cerebral hemisphere. Melanin as a neuropigment has the capacity to absorb levels of energy activity outside the spectrum of energy frequencies processed by the five traditional senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell, recognized in Western civilization. The civilization evolved by the white skin collective who lacks any substantial quality of melanin skin and nervous system pigmentation, and likewise who has a lesser